oftentimes, many of us dream about being successful, dream about doing what needs to be done. And oftentimes, we dream without putting in the work and it just becomes dreams. And looking at this morning, it means that in addition to dreaming, because you have to have that concept, you have to put in the work. Nothing is done, and that's something that we've all heard before. That's something that resonates to us all. That we have to put in the work to reach where we want to reach, and sometimes we might be daunted by various tasks that we have before us. And I always remember, we just start it and just do one step, one step, one step. And as you take that one step, you're closer to whatever you have to accomplish. So it just starts with taking that step towards your goal. So anyone out there, persons who might feel like the task insurmountable, that the task is grand, just take that step. Go take it, baby steps if you have to, because even small steps, that's progress. I
Preach.
yeah. I know yesterday we talked about the CBI. We talked about a number of issues as it relates to the CBI. And I think we played a clip as well by the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in relation to the CBI program. And indeed, in that clip, it would have been suggested that countries such as St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Antigua and Barbuda would have been on the list to have visa, to have to apply for visa in order to travel to the UK based on the citizenship by investment program that we have and they have. So here is an article, and I'm going to read it. It says the St. Lucia government dismisses concerns about UK visa restrictions, and it's on Loop News, and it says the St. Vincent government has dismissed opposition concerns that the United Kingdom government would place restrictions on citizens here as it did with Dominica last week solely for immigration and border security reasons. London said that the visa, in which went into immediate effect, meant that the nationals of Dominica and four other countries would also require to obtain a direct airside transit visa if they intend to transit via the UK. The UK government said that a careful consideration of Dominica's operation of a citizenship by investment scheme has shown clear and evident abuse of the scheme, including the granting of citizenship to individuals known to pose a risk to the UK. End of quote. Dominica and St. Lucia are among a handful of Caribbean community countries with a citizenship by investment program through which foreign investors are granted citizenship of the island in return for making substantial investments in the social economic development of the country. The Deputy Prime Minister has dismissed suggestions by the main opposition United Workers' Party that St. Lucians could be next to need a visa to obtain to enter Britain, sorry. And here there's a statement by the UWP that says it is deeply concerned that the report suggested that St. Lucia may lose its visa-free access to the United Kingdom in the coming months. And the article goes on to speak about it. And if you look closer down, it says, but the Deputy Prime Minister told reporters, and this is the St. Lucian Deputy Prime Minister, the St. Lucia Deputy Prime Minister, he told reporters that the British government statement had clearly indicated that its actions were against Dominica. So he's saying that the report that the British government made, the statement clearly indicated that its actions were against Dominica. And this is a quote that says, and I quote, they never mentioned St. Lucia, never mentioned St. Kitts, never mentioned Antigua, never mentioned Grenada. Noting that, end of quote, noting that a story has been circulated here from an unknown source declaring that after Dominica, St. Lucia would be next in August and the others would follow in September and October.
So you're saying the implication is that how should I put it? It was really Dominica, but they had to add the others to make it look less
Well,
discriminatory.
it
Sort of.
seems as though, as he is saying, is that, well, the Deputy Prime Minister for St. Lucia saying that St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, and Grenada were never mentioned.
But
and
then
it seemed
couldn't
to
it?
just be Dominica. But we
So,
know that there have been stories
mm,
and, reports even when
but
the.
couldn't it be that?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm assuming that they were just the UK were just talking to Dominicans at the time.
Well, the statement by the UK placed a statement out there, and I'm trying to recover the statement by the UK. The internet is thing, but the stories, conflicting stories, but as it says, let me here accept. Okay.
All of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a through line through all of this stuff. Yesterday, um, 2 or 3 people said I'm a racist. Actually went to the comments, and it's nowhere near as bad as Candy was making out. But anyway, 2 or 3 people said I'm a racist, but the through line through all of this stuff is racism, white supremacy.
Why you say that?
Well, why is it?
Mm-hmm.
Take for example, and there's a clip I want to play here. Another release from Jamaica concerning that same-sex diplomat thing. How is it, for example? How is it they don't pressure the bigger countries? They don't pressure their smaller European countries about offshore banking and financial people buying citizenship and all this stuff. B, how is it they don't pressure China, which is an aggressively conservative society when it comes to the gay stuff, and they don't pressure Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, they cut off your damn hand for stealing a Snickers bar, right? They might kill you for stealing a Snickers bar, as you know. How is it they don't go after these people? They don't go after the Russians for that. They don't go after the Eastern European countries with conservative values who feel that they should protect the family and that homosexuality and all this other transgender insanity.
But you say it's
Seems-
insanity.
No, don't. Let's not deflect.
No.
No. Let's stay on track.
Guys,
The point I'm saying is, the through line to all of this is a double standard. What do you think the double standard is about? The double standard is about white supremacy and racism. Because how is it? Like I said, how come how come they don't tell all these other countries? They tell the Africans, the Ugandans and the South Africans and the Zambians and all these people, the Kenyans. Oh, you have to change your gay laws or whatever. I'm not even gonna dignify it and say that LGBT. It's just gay stuff as far as I'm concerned. Maybe I should say the alphabet madness. But anyway, all I'm saying is they know who to pick on. Or they think they know who they can pick on. And there is a through line, and there's one constant. It's always the black and brown people of the world. Therein lies a double standard, and a big part of it is white supremacy and racism. The end. You don't have anything to say?
I've listened to your opinion, and that's your opinion. And
I know you want to become prime minister in the future, so you don't want to go out on a limb and.
I think.
I
think in supporting
this is why I can't be a politician, because I'm gonna say what needs to be said.
I think,
and you would think politicians should think that they have the mandate to say what needs to be said, especially when people voted for them.
I mean, Jamster, you have your opinion. You have expressed your opinion. It doesn't mean that others share that same opinion, and
Doesn't mean others. Trust me, a lot of others share my opinion.
Okay, it doesn't mean that. Let me change it, because you correct with that, because there are persons who share your opinion. Doesn't mean
a lot.
It doesn't
too.
mean that everyone share your opinion.
Let's not get. Listen. Let's stop the deflectionary tactics about not everyone. Of course, not everyone anything. Not everyone does anything. Yeah, that's you realize this is one of the deflectionary tactics that the white supremacists have come up with, and we just swallow it. And not all. I call it not allism. Let's not get sidetracked by not allism. Let's deal with the issue.
And so what
listen. If someone put me in this room with there are 10 snakes in here, right? If there are 10 snakes in this room, and only 2 of them are poisonous, do you think I have time to worry about, I might not know how many are poisonous, but I should assume the worst, right? And maybe I should stand up on the desk or something and get out of the way of the snake. That's the point I'm trying to make. Yeah, not all the snakes are poisonous, but you have to deal with trends, and you have to deal with what general experience has taught us, and you have to deal with that. I think actually that was I always thought that was a brilliant analogy that Muhammad Ali once used. I think the way he said it was, if I'm in this auditorium and there are 10,000 snakes coming down there, and only 10 of them are poisonous, you really think I'm going to waste time worrying about the ones that aren't poisonous? I'm going to do what I have to do for self-preservation, because I don't know who is who. Or in general terms, you know who is who, but the point is you don't know who the small minority is who might not want to harm you, right? And who might be your allies even. You want to take a call?
Sure, we could take a call.
Okay, wait. Island T, go right ahead.
Hello, greetings. Good morning, Island.
Hey, what's up?
Good morning,
What's up?
all the hosts and Radio Land.
Good morning.
Everyone out there listening.
Yeah, go ahead.
You see, my brethren, in life, everything breaks down to logistics, that which is logical, that which makes sense, that which is created on the premises of common sense, that which is valuable to all. You see,
Yeah.
we have to look for equality to everyone. But first and foremost, we look for this and we look for that. But do we look for the ultimate? The man in charge, the man who creates us all, the man who is the creator of the universe, the man who set the status quo, who put the laws above man in the courts of Mount Zion, the courts of God, the laws to rightfully and requisitely lead mankind along the way daily. The Chinese having their way, the Europeans having their way, Indians, Russians, they all having their way upon the most virtuous part of the earth known as Africa, where the most resources reign in its utmost to suffice the entire earth. Imagine 1 point of the earth to suffice the entire earth. These countries, they act as if they doesn't have total control over the resources of Mother Earth, that they're in great trouble and problems to exist among us.
So
we are human beings being given the right to exist.
yeah, and
on planet Earth.
I didn't even bring up all the other all the other stuff that they're doing in Africa. I just wanted to deal with the fact that they like to bully all these countries, Uganda and so on, about the homosexuality laws and stuff. And then and like you said, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that they're doing there that they would never dare do in other countries. Which is the point I was making.
The intimidation. Now they are taking our raw materials from our natural resources and processing them into products, and who they are selling them to most and foremost. Us, who it belongs to. This ridiculousness have to stop. If we don't start somewhere, we end up nowhere. That's why you had man like Marcus Garvey, myself, Bob Marley, Dr. Sabi, many other more.
You know, there's a through line. There's a through line with those three people. I could tell you, but I'm not gonna. I mean, and it leads to white supremacy. But I'm not gonna tell you what it is. I'm sure you know what it is.
Exactly. But you see, we are to be in position as we are to be because we are the creators. We are children of the Creator. We come from lands like Kemet and Kush, where the River Nile created civilization for mankind that runs all throughout motherland, headquarters of the earth, Africa.
Okay,
That's
caller.
where we came from.
Okay, caller.
That's why they're worried about us. You see, so we now have to keep the reality, the logistics in the mind of the curriculum. We have to be very particular about language because the main language is about to be spoken in Africa now is Swahili. So we need to inculcate Swahili into our curriculum, our school curriculum. You see what China is doing? England has done it. When you have a language that influences the masses of the world, you are totally in control automatically through communication and demands and commands by the power of language.
Okay.
China is trying to do that
Okay, caller.
to the whole world. Or all of a sudden they want us to learn Magdalene, which was hidden from us. You see? So we are the people now. We have to connect to our strength. Our source of strength is where we came from. We are 6 regions in the diaspora of motherland Africa being readapted by the AU
Okay,
to
caller.
have access in all your fields in Africa. So I look for other callers to come in, but I want
Okay.
people to open their eyes
All
to
right.
what we have here as a valuable people. We're not supposed to be suffering. Thank you. I listen
Okay.
up here.
All right. Yeah. So you were saying, Easy.
Yeah, I find we segue into this topic when we've been focusing on the CBI. So
Well,
let me just
go ahead.
continue.
Yeah, go ahead. Do you think?
Again with the CBI. There's an article here by the PM Gonzalez on the CBI crackdown, and he says, "I saw it coming." And the article says Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez said his decision not to implement a citizenship by investment program in St. Vincent and the Grenadines was justified by the news that the United Kingdom and European Union are cracking down on countries that sell their passports. In an interview with the state-run Agency for Public Information today, Gonzalez said that he had foreseen this as an unsustainable policy to earn revenue from the beginning. Look, those who didn't see it and who wanted to base an economic, and this seems like a quote from him, an economic strategy on that, like the opposition in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they now get their comeuppance.
Comeuppance, yeah.
Yes. It's your whole nature judgment brought to bear. Is your whole mature judgment. Okay, so is your whole mature judgment brought to bear when I say this thing is not sustainable. You can't base your economic development on this. You can't finance budget on these kind of monies, he stated.
But you noticed yesterday, and this is...
And I think they quote him in all directly, the dialect and everything.
but the thing I noticed is that you noticed yesterday, because the reason I asked the question, I said, so what's a practical... Remember when I asked, what's a practical solution to offset the inevitable fall of the CBI?
Again,
and nobody gives
and
an
again,
answer.
in this article, he's saying that the UK indicated by the end of 2023, St. Lucia, Grenada, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis passport holders would need a visa if they don't end their program. So again, he is saying this, and then there's articles where the Deputy Prime Minister of St. Lucia is saying, no, these countries weren't listed. And then there's a statement made by the UK on the 19th of July 2023, and the statement says, and I'm going to read it briefly because I know we do have Social Security. It says, today, he said, I am today laying before the House a statement that changes a statement of changes in immigration rules. And this is a statement coming from the Secretary of State for Home Development in the UK. And it's the imposition of a visa regime on Dominica, and it lists some other countries. I'm just going to briefly go through it as much as possible.
Did they list us?
No, he didn't list us there.
Interesting.
They're saying we are today imposing a visa requirement on all visitors from Dominica, Honduras, Namibia, and some other countries. Nationals of these countries will also be required to obtain a direct airside transit visa if they intend to transit via the UK, having booked travel to another country. And it says careful consideration of Dominica's operation of a citizenship by investment scheme has shown a clear and evident abuse of the scheme, including the granting of citizenships to individuals known to pose a risk to the UK. And so it talks about Honduras and Namibia, and it says that there has been a sustained and significant increase in the number of UK asylum applications being made by these nationals who abuse the provisions to visit the UK for a limited period as non-visa nationals in order to claim asylum. Okay, so it goes on to say things. In the article, though, it does not mention St. Kitts and Nevis. It does not mention the other countries. But in fairness, it mentions the countries in which visa restrictions have been placed and the reasons as to it. Whether or not there will be another statement issued, that's left to be seen. We're having contrasting stories, and it's left to be seen what the outcome would be. We know that based on an article or based on a news source that Prime Minister Drew, I think, has traveled to meet and discuss the matters as it relates to the CBI. So it's just left to be seen what the outcome would be in relation to that.
The plot thickens because I'm thinking, I was thinking, the reason I asked if that quote was someone speaking directly to someone from that particular country, which could have been the reason why they didn't mention the other. It could have been that particular diplomat just was dealing with
those countries.
That one country. But
and perhaps it was a statement from the Secretary of State. I think that maybe they were just saying this is what we're implementing for these countries, and this is the reason why we have implemented. There was no.
Well, I find it interesting that that statement only had Dominica or so.
No, it had Dominica and the other countries that in which.
Yeah, meaning
Dominica from here.
Yeah. So it will be left to be seen what happens. But then it's just a matter of transiting, though, right? Isn't that right?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of, as even if you're touching the country, the soil of the country, you have to get the visa, even to land.
Okay, so it's 8:30, so we are going to get ready for Social Security. You know, we have this program, an in-studio program, the last Wednesday in every month. So we're gonna do that now.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Social security. Social security. Social security. Social security. When I young and I walk and me bust it up, I make sure he pay. So when I hold and I cold and I resting, me soul, me pension is there. If I sick or maybe I suffer, I drop injury. It's the same social security looking out for me. Social security. Social security. Social security. Social security.
Getting sure to be sure of your benefits. Sickness and maternity, I'll tell you about the rest of it. Survivors grant your spouse and kids get the best of it. Let me mention pension when you're 62. When you're done work hard and retire, this is what to do. Listen, this social security is working for all your benefits. Funeral grant to help every one of your relatives.
8:33, no doubt.
For this,
And it's time for the in-studio, the once monthly in-store Social Security sit-down. We've got Camila and company. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Welcome back to our monthly discussion, because you deserve a future with Social Security. We all do.
Yes.
And more we're hearing how important Social Security is, not just across St. Kitts Nevis, but across the world. You see what is happening in France with persons feeling unstable about what their future would look like. The need for reform is not unique to St. Kitts. It's something that we all go through. Life cycles. You do something for a certain period and you stop. Except for me, I like baby food. So I haven't stopped eating baby food all this time, right? But just to show you, really, we have to change. And so in France, you're seeing some change. And in St. Kitts, we are talking about change for a while now because we are a mature fund. But July is the month of the self-employed. And in studio with me, I have the beautiful Anique Ward. And she's the owner of Glamorous Dolls, right? And they are holistic beauty. They do hair braiding and stuff like that. But I'm going to let her share about her journey, why she ended up being self-employed, because I'm very impressed that she just isn't doing self-employed on the side. She's a registered, compliant, self-employed person, and that's a rarity. Young people are concerned about living day to day. They're concerned about what's going to happen tomorrow, this afternoon, whatever. But Anique is different. So Anique is going to share how she got into self-employed, why she chose to be an employer of herself rather than being employed by someone else. So welcome, Anique.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
And we look forward to hear from you and to engage with you this morning.
Well, I basically started doing hair from since the year 2020. So I am a lover of art. Most people know me from doing art, actually.
And when you say arts, what kind of
Painting.
painting? Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
I actually did a mural at the St. Paul's Primary School. So I don't know if most of you guys saw it before. But yeah.
So she's an
y-
artist.
Yes. So I'm getting there for. I could be wrong that you're from the area of St. Paul's.
Yes, I'm from St. Paul's.
Okay. Okay then.
You pick up the samples.
So tell us, you've been doing the art, and now you have gone into your own business. Tell us about your business, and tell us about what inspired you to actually go into this field.
Well, my business is called Glamorous Dolls. When I was younger, I used to love a lot of Barbie dolls. So I used to do their hair often. So my dream was to actually start doing hair on actual, people
Yes.
and making them feel good about themselves, actually. So, yeah.
And so, could you tell me about your clientele? Could you tell me about, yes, your clientele?
Well, most of my clients, they're young, from the age, let's say, 14 to 30, I would say 30. So, yeah, most of them is from the villages close by. Some of them, they come from town and Nevis, actually.
Wow.
And now and again, I would have students from the Ross University. So it's a big group, actually.
Could you tell me where your office or your business is stationed? Is it a one-spot location, or is it that you move around?
Well, I'm home-based. Now and again, if there's an emergency with my clients, I would travel to them. And yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
Now, let me share something more, because Anique is so conservative in her conversation. Her space is well defined. You look like you're gone into an oasis, into a garden, because it's greenery and so on. And she does great digital content. So she's not just into doing the hair and that's it. If you go to her page, Glamorous Dolls on IG, ain't just the pictures, she has reels, she does it great because she has an eye for art.
Yes.
And so she is deeper than she's letting on, and I'm very impressed
She
with
only
her.
touching the tip of the
She
surface.
only touching the surface. Truly amazed at what we did. And so for the month, we're featuring two very young self-employed persons. We have Anique Ward on St. Kitts, and we have Theron Lawrence on Nevis. He's an architect. He's also going to get an opportunity for some of this kind of exposure. But Anik, she struck me from the work, from how she carries herself. She ain't even just, something you go by a hair salon and it's just, okay, platinum and whatever. She has a business portfolio. I saw her business picture and she does look the part. And that led me to know this is why this young lady registered and not just doing here as a hobby. This is her life work. And so when things change, because life happens, as we always say, when she's ready to have her own family, if she's unable to work because she has an injury related to, like, she's sick or so on, there's self-employed coverage. So, Anik, why did you make that decision?
Yeah, that's the next question I was going to ask, especially at a young age. Some persons shy away even though they ought to.
Right.
Why did you take upon yourself to make that decision, which is the right decision? Yes.
Well, firstly, a lot of people was telling me why I haven't, signed up for social as yet. And then I actually thought about it because I attended a beauty training program. I think you were the one that, So after hearing the benefits, I was like, why not sign up for social? Because, so many things going on in the world right now. We never know what could happen to us. So, just to be on the safe side, I signed up because I definitely do not know when I'm going to be sick and I'll be out of work. And,
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
So, what would you say to persons like yourself who are self-employed and who haven't signed up as yet? What would you say to them?
Sign up now, contribute, and you will definitely reap the benefits.
Awesome.
So let me ask the contribution, it's based on your monthly income?
Good. I was going to get into the details of how it works. Now, before 1996, there was no self-employed coverage. And that was just the other day. Before 96, there was no self-employed coverage. So the person like Annie who chose to create their own employment had no coverage for sickness, maternity, or even age when they get to retirement age. So that was changed in order for Social Security to become universally compliant with the International Labour Organization, the ILO. And so the self-employed pay 10% of their earnings to Social Security. In the employee case, the employer pays 5% and the employee pays 5%, right? And the employer also has additional responsibilities to levy, to employment injury, and so on. So in the case of the self-employed, because they're their own employer and the employee, they pay 10%. So they choose a wage category, and we have different wage categories, which means, let's say you make and earn a weekly earnings of $300 a month, your contribution is $30 for each Monday in that month. So 30 times 4 is 120. 30 times 5 is 150. Say either pay 120 or 150 dependent. And that goes all the way up to like, I think there's a category of, let's say your earnings is $1,100 weekly. You pay 10% of that. So there is flexibility in the range because you see a start at 30 and you could come right up to 110 or whatever. So you pay based on the number of Mondays in the month. Now, it's all easy, very easy. And Nick, tell us about the experience of completing your remittance book. Like, what do you do? Do you actually come in? Do you send it in? Do you pay online? What do you do?
Well, actually, I received the self-employed book. So what I do at home, I would sign it out so that the process could be easier when I head to social. So after that, I would have my money aside with the book.
So you do it weekly? You take out your little money and put it down? Or you
Yes,
so organized that you...
Yes, actually, yes, I do put it down.
Wow.
Discipline.
Dedication. And young. That far, that far part. But for Anik, it is all together.
Anik, how old did you say? I think you said
She
22?
didn't tell us.
Or she
21.
Didn't? Oh, in my mind, I was thinking 22. Okay, so I wasn't far off.
That's incredible.
Yes.
So you actually come in to pay it?
Yes.
Or you send someone or whatever?
I would come in and actually pay it. Just, it's Monday. Monday, I went in to pay for this month.
Okay, so here's a semi-stupid question. She's self-employed,
Yes.
but maybe she has one person working for her.
Mm-hmm.
So it just goes like a regular employer, 5 and 5.
No. If she becomes an employer, that's different.
Might be even if it's just one person.
Even if it's just one person, she becomes an employer. She now has to register as an employer with Social Security and meet that set of obligations. No, a lot of self-employed persons, because they're not tied to one particular person. She may have also a hairdresser who just wants to use her space, or a nail tech who just wants to use this space. She does not necessarily is in charge or have control of their schedule or their appointments. They themselves are individually self-employed persons. But if she hires someone and she controls the schedule, she says when is their off day and all of that, she becomes the employer and now has a responsibility to register as an employer.
So then she would maintain the self-employed.
She would maintain her self-employed for herself.
Status. Yes, for herself.
Yes.
And then
And
as an employer for that one person.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And of course that would cover if she hires additional people. And
Correct.
so on. Right.
Correct. So as Annie grows her business, because I can envision her growing out of her oasis setting and making it a real jungle.
Yeah.
Because it's really nice. Really, really nice.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and I mean it's so many wonderful news, and starting your own business.
They might have to
being
start-
self-employed.
They might have to start to St. Paul's Industrial Park because of Anik.
I'm sure there are others, but
Yes.
her story is really encouraging
Mm-hmm.
to see a young woman who is this focused,
Yes.
disciplined, and not just doing it as a side thing. This is her
Mm-hmm.
employment. She actually gets ready to work, and look like, you go by some people and you just thing. She looks the part,
Yes.
the space is allocated properly, and you feel like you're in somewhere. So it's a really good thing.
So-
And to back it up with self-employed, she's a big deal.
Just for general information, with self-employed people, we know what happened during COVID, during shutdowns and all that. What happens in terms of what you have to pay monthly?
Good question. No, surprisingly, a lot of businesses grew out of COVID. Anik is one such a business,
Okay.
right? So we had a spike in registration. So because people went into survival mode, let me use my skill. I can go back to the office. Let me do my skills here, makeup, whatever it was. So we saw a lot of businesses growing out of COVID. But we recognize also that self-employed work is seasonal. Sometimes you're really booked and some days are really slow. And then we have our peak seasons in St. Kitts Nevis as well. Culturama, Music Festival,
Sugar Mass.
Sugar Mass. But I see we are spreading out a bit now. So we're having a lot more things and we gotta look good every day. So persons like Anik should not be without work. But for those slow times, there is something that is called the nil return. If you didn't make any money for the period, don't shy away. Just fill out NIL on your self-employed form and you're coming to us and we will take care of it because we understand that, you may not make money. Another good thing about our self-employed coverage is that you can pay in advance. As an employee, I have to wait for August to make my contribution for August. The self-employed can actually pay for the entire year. So they know that, okay, Jamster.
But I thought you said, okay, because different months will have different income levels. So,
Correct.
So
yes, but they're
there's
not,
a baseline?
They're not paying based on the actual income they made for the month. They're paying based on the income selection, the category.
Oh, I
Because again, their
see.
work is seasonal.
I see.
They may have made that money or they may not have.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there are bands and there's also the flexibility of moving within the bands. So let's say you are at the $30 a week category and you say, boy, this season is good, I think I should go up. But you can't go from 30 up to 110, like my lawyer friend here spoiling, right? You could only go from 30 to 40 to make it better, or from 30 to 20 if you need to go down a bit for balance. And you know the reasons why we would need to do it like that. So they have the flexibility of changing their income category based on their income levels.
Now I understand.
Over a 6-month period. So in a year, you can do that change in July and January, right? So all right now, if you're self-employed and you're saying, I think I need to change because the season is upcoming, we're going back into tourism season just now, let's go up. Okay, it's slow for me, nothing is happening in my industry, let me move down one. You have until the 31st to do that. So there's that flexibility for self-employed coverage. It works pretty well, and we don't have a problem with registration. People see the benefit of registering, but we have a problem with compliance. It's very low, very poor. And
Also, they'll register, but they might not stay current.
They're not maintaining it.
No.
Except we have persons like Anik, who is fresh new inspiration and is making sure that her status is current.
You should actually do a promo with her. Seriously.
We do have one, and that you're going to air just now.
And get beyond to
Yeah.
to
No,
Also, he's done it already.
Done already.
Oh, okay.
So it's-
So look at the chat and you see it. That's what I'm trying to indicate to you.
yes.
Yes.
So you have it to ear.
Yes.
And so we could.
So you see, great minds think alike.
We've been thinking. So it's actually on our
Oh,
social
okay.
media pages and so on.
Yes.
And we could actually take a pause when you're ready
Yeah,
to,
sure.
to let the world know what Anik is raving about and why I'm so excited.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's give this a try. Here we go. Okay.
This business began when I was much younger. I was into Barbie dolls and always felt a great sense of fulfillment braiding their hair. I knew from then on that this would be my area of expertise. Because of those Barbie dolls, Glamorous Dolls was created. I do knotless braids, Fulani braids, bohemian locks, soft locks, and passion twists. I feel so empowered knowing that I am my own boss. I get to invest in my own and pour into my success and passion. I have full creative control. Whatever your passion is, go for it. Chase your dreams. Social security is important. To all you entrepreneurs, register now. Contribute and you will definitely reap the benefits. Register, comply, benefit. It's that simple.
Social Security, because you deserve a future. Celebrating 27 years of coverage for the self-employed.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Yes.
and if people could have seen the visuals, that would have been even better. So tell them where they can go and see it.
Of
Your
course,
Instagram page and everything.
on our Instagram, on our Facebook page. We've shared it across our broadcast list on WhatsApp. I'll do so again throughout the month.
Give us a name again. Give them her name again.
Anik Ward, Glamorous Dolls.
Okay. You spell it with an E or just
And
W-A-R-D?
Without E.
Without the E.
Without
Okay.
the E and stuff.
Right? Yes, so it's very good, very encouraging to see young persons. Again, we have another one, and it features a young man from Nevis, Teron Lawrence. He's an architect. And so we have young people who are taking their hobbies and making it their life career. And once you're passionate about it, it will work. So we see that in Anik's art coming to life on our heads. And so we're seeing Teron's art coming to life with buildings, edifices that look absolutely amazing. So I'm excited to share that one as well.
So you're going to buy any yet? Get you here done?
As soon as I take out these. As soon as I finish this set. Because y'all know I don't stay in one place.
So what are you thinking to get? Because I have listened to the video and I hear all about the different side of braiding. So which braid are you thinking about?
Fulani, I don't know what that one is, but the name is different.
Oh, that's the African tribe, right?
Yeah.
Yes, actually.
See there? So we're
This-
going to do that one.
The singles to the back and the corners in front.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, so you're gonna see me with it. I promise you that.
Fulani.
Yes. So we want to encourage the self-employed to do more than work your passion. Make it work for you as you age, because we don't know when life will change for us. We see young people today, they're gone today. You speak to someone this morning, you look back, the person is sick and unable to take care of themselves. And truly, we don't have no single friend who gonna come and say, here, take 65% of what you was working for until you're back on your feet. Social Security is that friend. I don't have a single friend who is going to come and say, Miss Lawrence, take this to Berry Cam. Social Security will come and say, this is your little bit to assist in the burial cost. Because sometimes you listen to the negative, oh, social take long, oh, social just thieving me money. But it's a bigger picture. We don't advocate or say that we're perfect, but we make it work. We do the work. We go after the employer to make sure that we collect the contribution in order to pay. We do more than pay benefits. We are a good corporate partner. We invest in education, we invest in housing, we invest in national security, we invest in health. Annually, we make sizable contributions to these sectors to ensure that work continues. We have to grow the fund, and so we make certain investments. We have to be good administrators of the fund, and that is why we have to speak about the status of the fund. And if it's one thing they're going to say about social, we always in the media. We make sure that people know the information or hear the information. Because I say, I never hear you say that yet. You never this, I didn't know that, and so on.
Well, I must say, has been the most compelling presentation on self-employment sign-ups
Yes.
you've done, because I'm seriously considering it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trust me, I had to bring a young person.
Yeah.
I had to bring a real life person so you could see if a young woman at 21 could see the importance. How somebody who is far more mature with far more to lose not see the importance.
True.
And you need 10 years of making contributions to Social Security in order to secure a pension. That's about 500 weeks. Where are you with that? Check yourself, check your status. Just like how you check your friend them status, check your Social Security status.
Let's squeeze in a call
Sure.
for Social Security. Okay, we had 2 calls, so hopefully someone will call back. Okay, callers, let's try and sneak in at least 2 calls. We have about 4 minutes left, so okay, here we go. Social Security, you're...
Yes, Camster, good morning.
Hey.
Good morning.
And the good ladies them up from Social Security. We all want to encourage that youngster there. She's doing well, and she's walking down the right alley. But a question for the lady at Social Security, because it's bothering me. The other night we was at the Focus University, and we was talking about Social Security. And we gathered that when these officers go to employers to attack them for poor people money, where they take now to go into Social Security, they're being threatened. And they're calling them police, because we ain't gonna tolerate them kind of behavior and think it's no more. Who get away with that? By the political friends. When people work hard, they must be able to go somewhere for money to sustain them in the long term. Please, lady, tell the country the truth. Calling on the management and Social Security. Do not play with these kind of things. Let them try and see that these workers keep doing the crowd work and doing the work loyally and fairly and seeing that it's working, threatening them because they want to take Social Security money to the employer. These work them and tolerate that. This is them that we're talking about here, and you talk me out. Police, getting done. And I don't like these themselves. Put the public to that. I don't them, my brother.
I want to thank you for your passionate appeal to Social Security to continue our efforts for compliance. We still continue to prosecute delinquent employers. We still continue to reach out and say, if you're having a problem, come to us. When we come to you, we expect that you cooperate. And in fact, it is an offense to withhold contributions that you take from employees' wages and not pay into Social Security. The matter of threatening staff's livelihoods and so on, Social Security works closely with the Labor Department as well to ensure that workers' rights and responsibilities are observed and respected. So we continue to do our part, and we thank you for your passionate plea. We will be continuing to prosecute employers who are delinquent. We publish on our website monthly the judgments and withdrawals that we receive for that period as well. So persons can go on socialsecurity.kn and see that information. So I thank the caller for his passionate plea. It makes us know that there is work to do, and we continue in our steady work.
Thank you. And it's 1 minute until 9 o'clock. You have anything to say, Izzy? Before
I just want to say thank you so much for coming this morning, and I want to say continue the great work that you're doing. Continue to be a role model for those persons who are self-employed and giving back, Social Security, ensuring that you safeguard your future.
Correct. Thank you.
And all hail the self-employment ambassador, because I think
you're gonna see more of Anik, certainly. Certainly.
I think she is like the perfect spokeswoman for
just her calm confidence and her discipline is amazing. It is.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So guys, go and check out Glamorous Dolls for all your hair looks in St. Paul's.
Coincidentally, as you said, Glamorous Dolls, the Barbie doll movies, out and everything like that.
One last thing. Anik, how do you spell your first name?
ANIQUE.
QE, okay. All right, great.
Thanks
9 o'clock.
Have a great day. Remember Social Security, because you deserve a future.
When you're done work hard and retire, this is what to do. Listen, this Social Security is working for all your benefits. If you know well, want to help every one of your relatives, come register for this Social Security. Social Security.
From the South, 98.9. Win FM.
So who you left the kids with tonight?
Nobody. They're big enough to take care of themselves.
Girl, you mad? Junior only 7 years old. And suppose something happened to the baby while you're out here?
My mother was leaving me home by myself since I'm 5. He can handle it. Nothing gonna happen.
This don't feel right. Call and check on them.
Look, I work hard all week. I deserve this break. Besides, they're good. Hello?
Sandra, girl, there's been a fire. You need to come now.
Leaving underage children at home by themselves is child neglect. Need support? See if another family member or a trusted neighbor can help. This message brought to you by UNICEF, UKAID, Crime Stoppers, and this station.
The biggest party in sport is back for 2023. And the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots will need your support at Warner Park. CPL will be bigger, better and louder than ever before. And this year, the Patriots are ready to bounce back and claim the title once again. The games are between the 23rd and 27th of August. Get your tickets now at cplt20.com. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
Antigua Carnival 2023, the Caribbean's greatest summer festival. Join us from July 27th to August 8th for 13 days of pure music, mass, and creativity. Get ready for the iron and the brass, the soca and the sun, the sand and the sea, all in one. Antigua Carnival, where the magic happens. Be there July 27th to August 8th. Antigua, Carnival is calling.
Three minutes after 9 o'clock, we had a pretty engaging farm report last week, and we promised to continue it with another panel from the consortium. So we're just getting them seated, and then we're gonna get into it for the hour. With your calls, of course, 466-0989, 662-0989, and 762-0989. If you're living in the U.S. and Canada, 718-285-6984, 305-921-4619, and if you happen to be in the UK area, living on the Soggy Island, 033-344-0065. Farm Report is on.
We are going to be joined by others. Yes.
Good morning again. My cases. Hi, good morning again. This is Mishak Alford, the president of the Farmers Consortium, consisting of farmers and food producers and syndicats. I'm joined by other members that allow them to introduce themselves as well.
Good morning again. I am Esmond Henderson.
Good morning, Blyden Brody.
Yes. So last week we were talking about a number of things that we want, well, that you guys want to see accomplished. I realized that there was a press release sent out by the Ministry of Agriculture after the talk here, or the conversation that we had, indicating that there are 2 tractors available now. There will be 2 tractors available.
Yes. So last year we saw those circulations. Sorry. Yeah. We see. Other side. All right. Let me make a quick shift.
Yes.
All right.
So
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes, of course. Since our last discussion here, we saw that those circulations, not just the tractor, but also saw a circulation for a rollout or the 25 by 25 plan, CARICOM plan for agriculture to be launched here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so, yeah, those were circulated just after. And we can have some discussions as it relates to those things throughout the program here this morning.
Okay. Yes. So, Mishak, lead the way. The discussion here this morning, lay the foundation so we could have the conversation.
No problem at all. Let me just say, the main voice for the organization is on his way, Mr. Troy Flanders.
Yes.
However, I'm going to just try to carve out what we want to talk about today, and also allow for some flexibility based on yourself, the host. Last time we were here, we left off at a critical discussion point. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough time to go deep into 1 or 2 of the matters. But when we were here the last time, we were here because, as a group, in terms of our numbers, because of a certain feeling of disgust as it relates to the level of treatment that we believe we are on the receiving end of, having engaged and indulged with the Permanent Secretary at the conference room at the Department of Agriculture. That's last week. I think it was Tuesday. Last week, Tuesday. I think we had made it clear to him and his office that we are in no position going to tolerate any kind of disrespect as it relates to our membership, because we have been reaching out for a long time, even before him becoming the Permanent Secretary there. We started, as we have indicated, and if you go back to other tapes from the previous sittings here, we've been reaching out since Ron Collins' days. And so, in our view, government is continuous. We started off on the premise that we want to work with and along the side of agriculture, department and ministry. We want to collaborate. We want to ensure that farmers have a seat and a voice at the table, and that their concerns are registered at the highest levels of decision making. At no point are we going to renege on that. This is what is driving the membership. This is what is driving the goal of all of our members and leaders in the consortium. Specifically to that experience, again, our member is also working with the Ministry of Agriculture, but also he's the head of a COP. And again, you know, we believe in the rights or the freedom to associate and assemble with whoever you may choose. And in that forum, he was there as a member of the consortium and also a leader of a cooperative society. To deny that person the right to share particular view on behalf of his own membership to us was a big concern. And even after much attempt to have him renege on going down a road that we thought would have lead to disaster in terms of the meeting, he insisted on that path. That would have left a very sour taste in the mouth of the consortium, and up to this day, since that meeting, we have not yet come to a resolve. In fact, the ministry has not yet even reached out to communicate on any other matter. Yes, shortly after that exchange, we came to the radio program last week to share our disgust, to share our concern, because we weren't there in the spirit of acrimony. We weren't there to cause any form of discord or rancor. We were there in the spirit of partnership. All right? And so it's kind of unfortunate. I believe that the term or the phrase, the civil service, means you must first be civil and you must provide a service, right? And the combination of those words must not be taken lightly and for granted. And so we are hoping that civility will prevail and service will continue. And we're still looking to see a better response going forward from the Ministry of Agriculture. But we are going to stay on it. We're going to stay pressing on the issues, and we're going to avoid any form of conflict where it is unnecessary.
But clearly your voices are being heard to a certain extent, especially as you have presented what would have been your dissatisfaction with the meeting, because from there it seemed like wherever the monies came from, there were monies that were allocated now for the tractors. So again, there is it's not just talk, but it seems that you guys being here, you guys being able to speak on the issue, at least it's creating some sort of pressure for the Ministry of Agriculture to do some work in able to enhance the life of farmers.
Let me say that we were encouraged by the fact that there was an approval for these two tractors, because we've been pressing on this matter for some time now. As I said, the pressing on this came even before this particular permanent secretary. To understand now that there is an approval to procure two such tractors, I think it will be a good addition to the agriculture sector. We still believe it's not enough, but we are saying it's at least heading in the right direction, and we hope to see more like that coming, and we continue to press for those. And so there's nothing in that regard I think we have any objection to.
Okay. Mr. Flanders, you have joined us. I know that, Mishak was just giving us an overview of the last week's conversation and giving us an update as it relates to what has been happening since that. Is there anything that you would like to weigh in on at this particular time?
Misha did such a good job, and I hear Esmond after that. I think he has something to say. Good morning to all who are listening.
Good morning.
I would just like, at this moment, I would just like to say good morning to most of our super listeners. I know they are listening. Say good morning to them. Ras Eli, good morning. And Banky, good morning. I know you are listening over there. Mrs. Henry, Mother Henry, good morning. And Mr. Culture, good morning. I'd just like to tell you all thanks for your support. And those people who meet us on the street and say, farmers, I like what you all are doing. Keep it up. The sector depends on it. I will say big thank you to them also. So if I leave out any names, it's not because I want to. Kashrai, good morning. I know you are there. Jamdong, good morning.
Yes. And those are persons who listen attentively to the program here and call in as well.
Jamdong is a farmer now? a little comic relief.
Yes. So, is there anything else? I mean, there are so many things happening with the Ministry of Agriculture. There's so many things happening with the consortium. is there any other issue that you guys wish to see addressed that perhaps weren't discussed last week? Because I know we're a bit pressed for time.
Yeah, but before I allow the other members to chime in, I was asked to make this statement very emphatic. In a meeting of the leadership of the consortium, and as I indicated before, that this has members, leaders of the different corps, right? Of the let's say the 10 corps, we have about 6 of the corp heads that are members and leaders in the consortium. They wanted to make it very clear that there are over 120 members of the consortium. So when you reject any one of us, you're rejecting all of us as it relates to that. And so they made it clear that I must make that statement, and it must be emphatic, and we are going to grow even further, right? And so we, as we are saying, we have to keep on insisting on having a voice for the farmers, and everybody is on the same footing as it relates to this matter. So I wanted to say that and preface that before other comments come in. Of course, I know you want to talk about the 25 by 25. There is some background to that, and I believe I'll allow one of the members to touch on that to show you what has happened in the past and what it looked like. We might go down a particular or the same road again, and it kind of follows that you normally would have. So I'll allow the other speakers to come in.
Yes.
Okay, good morning again. I'm Esmond Henderson. And as we grapple with what took place at the said meeting last week, one of the scenarios that keep playing in my head is one with the now past peers having a meeting with an established group. One of the members of that group was denied the opportunity to speak. Remember, this is Bishop Ron Collins. Denying a member of that said group to speak and giving the ultimatum that if he would speak, the meeting would be closed or adjourned. And think about what the response would be from an opposition candidate in Samuel Duggins. If that would take a week for him to respond and call out former peers, Ron Collins, and such a matter. And this is not to say that we're deciding here who is right or wrong. We're just saying, would it take a week after an opposition, Samuel Duggins, learned of an incident of that nature to speak on that matter? And just want you to play with that in your mind as we proceed on today's program.
Okay. So we very interesting. And again, as I've said before, you know that Mr. Duggins, he is a farmer. He has his own farm, and he's now the Minister of Agriculture. Of course, I have always said that as a farmer and as the Minister of Agriculture, he would have, at least I would assume that he would have some knowledge and some experience and understand the plight of farmers, so he can
and also
take,
empathy for the farmers.
So he could take the Ministry of Agriculture to a higher level. And as you have indicated before, and persons have said, on this show, you guys have said that some of these problems and problems that just now, these are problems that you guys have been facing. And so it's a situation where it is that even though these might be new faces in your position or new faces in your places, the problems that have transpired or continue to transpire, these are long problems. So you guys are now again reaching out to the Ministry of Agriculture. And that is one point why I have said oftentimes that even when we have a change of administration, it is important not just to shake up things and get rid of them, but ensure that there's some sort of transitional period where there is some sort of conversation between those who are there now and those who are there and those who are coming, so you can have a transitional period where it is that persons can understand the problems and try to solve those problems or as much as possible shed light to those problems, because this shake-up thing and you hear this week and gone next week, it doesn't really do well for the progress of our federation, the progress of the civil service. Yeah.
I only had one question. As it relates to the 120 farmers that you refer to, is this a cross-section across all the agricultural persons?
Yes,
Livestock?
Yeah, my bad. I was also to mention that the membership is constituted of crop farmers, agro-processors, livestock persons as well.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. You find that because you're part of the program, I don't know, because do you find that you are now feeling some sort of pressure from the Ministry of Agriculture in a negative way?
Okay. So good. You see, it's interesting you asked that question.
Yes.
And it's a situation that we've been discussing for several meetings now. When a carp head is going to say that anytime they're trying to really pull the collective will of his or her organization, that its members are poached, basically approached by ministry officials, right, so that they can have a different response. And so one of the concerns that they've had over all the years is especially when you have handouts, you use that to kind of divide the will of a collective body like a cooperative society. This has been expressed from about 3 different carp heads, separately and then jointly in our last meeting. And it's a concern because it has always been a standard ask that farmers and agro-processors and all of the persons that below the sector come together, work as one. But yet, in the background, you see that these persons are being poached and it leading to division inside of some of the groups. And it creates some dysfunction. So some of the groups, some of the corps are still struggling to get the numbers that they want or to maintain those, because if you don't have those numbers, you cannot have a quorum to have meetings. If you're not having meetings, you're not planning. If you're not planning, you're not growing. You're actually dying as an organization. And so once you see activities like these, nefarious activities like these happening to our cooperative societies and the leadership, then you see that we are weakening the institutional structure for agriculture in St. Kitts and Nevis.
No, can you expound? You said they're being approached. Is that what you're saying?
I said poached.
Oh, poached.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Poached.
Is one of the examples used is that you might have an activity, and the farmers decided that the agro-processors decide that they don't like that activity, doesn't speak well of them, it's not something that they agree with. The leadership might have made a decision and the body might have made a decision, but you'll go and get individual persons to show up at the function to support it. Right? So whatever you are enticing that person with individually, you use that to leverage them over, thereby weakening the collective will of that organization. You only are going to be sowing seed of discord in that organization.
Divide and rule.
Yeah.
It's our farm
And
report.
this has
It's
been
9:21.
More recently.
Yes, I mean these are things that are coming up currently. In fact, when the carp head expressed that in the last meeting, he said you have to be mindful of this. You know, because we're dear planning and making decisions about what our next steps are. You have to be mindful of it is happening. It's happening on a constant basis, right? It's not laying it at any specific individual feet. It's saying it is something that is even systematic, right? In one end, because I could recall having sat in a meeting with persons in trade concerning the current state of egg on the island a couple months ago. I remember the permanent secretary, one of them saying that what should happen is that you should make all persons a part of cooperative societies, otherwise they cannot get benefits from the government or anything like that. And I had to say you can't do that. People have the right to associate and not to associate at the same time. All right? And so once you begin to that, but if you're calling for it there, on one hand, in the public and showing that, but then behind the scenes, that actions are being taken to weaken that same collective will, then something is amiss there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a farm report. It's 23 minutes after 9 o'clock, and we'll be taking your calls at some point. So whenever you guys are ready to start taking calls, just let me know. As it happens, well, it just stopped ringing. But calls are on deck. Let's take the first one. Farm report, you're on air.
Greetings, IT.
Good morning.
There's a static in your line. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we hearing you.
Are you hearing us clearly?
Yes,
We are.
We are, yeah.
Okay. Greetings forwardly, same to your guests. You're most welcome, my brother. Systematico, eh? Systematic. We heard that word, systematic. But listen, we want to remind all and sundry that systems is not in a vacuum. It's people put systems in place. That's why it is very important for the right face to be in the right.
We lost a caller. Jamso?
Lost it. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's credit. Sounds like it's credit probably right now.
No,
Yeah.
Well, I think we can move on to until the caller comes back in.
Yes.
We can move on to maybe some discussions about what is to happen on Thursday in terms of 25 by 25. But I would like one of the members to let some background, foundational things at stake here.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, quickly again, let us look at the release as you spoke about earlier, the release that you spoke about earlier. There's a release on Thursday, and though we can't speak directly to what is going to happen there, it gives us a picture of what has been happening before. And those of us like Biden Booty who have been here for a very long time understand some of what is happening. Now, the ministry is about to roll out the 25 by 25. And one of the reasons that we came together, as Meshach so eloquently spoke of before, is that once the ministry releases anything and it doesn't work, in the end, we are the ones who suffer. Because very often you hear on the radio that there's a $10 million that was released to agriculture, a $13 million that was released to agriculture, and then you say, well, where is it? Why are the farmers still complaining? And the reasons are, very often, those plans and programs were not created by us. And so whoever in a vacuum, in a room, decided that, for example, we are going to buy 2 tractors. Now, over the past 13 years, the government has embarked on purchasing tractors. And so we have about 8 or 10 tractors. But one of the critical things to look at is all those tractors are of different brand or model. Now, that is where the voice of the consortium comes in. We have a wide section of farmers who are involved in private land preparation. And if you ask them what type of tractors should be bought for preparation, they'll be more than happy to indicate to you what they believe might be. Now we have the backdrop where SSMC was a purchaser of tractors. Some of those tractors are some of the strongest tractors on the island, yet those are not the tractors purchased. And I'm not saying that those that are purchased should not be. I'm just saying if you have 8 tractors in 13 years, a tractor is a 25 to 30 year type of equipment. And in 8 to 10 years, you have bought 8 tractors and is proposing to buy 2 more. It tells you that something is wrong. And if we could have lent our voice to the conversation to say, look, buy this type because this type seems to be a more durable type, then that could have changed the conversation that we're having today. Beyond that, if you buy 10 tractors and 2 become dysfunctional, you could use parts from those 2 to keep the other 8 afloat and running. Now, in this case, all the tractors are of different brand. So once one tractor goes down, there's nothing that can be done from another, or nothing that could be pulled from another to maintain one or 2 others. The second thing is, these tractors are very complicated tractors, computerized tractors. And whereas you might have a mechanic who begin to master one, then you bring another one with a total different setting. So, which is it? You're going to have a mechanic for every tractor? Because it has been proven that our mechanics are not sufficiently up to the task of maintaining these tractors. And that's one of the things that we have said earlier.
Let me ask a question for some clarity. The tractors you're talking about, the Ford tractors, right?
Right, from SSMC.
Okay, well, I just looked up. I just Googled something. I said, does Ford make tractors, agricultural tractors anymore? Unfortunately, the Ford Motor Company doesn't make tractors anymore. So could that be part of the problem? But at the same time, how do we go forward now knowing that those tractors that we grew up seeing the SSMC et al. Using,
Well,
Ford doesn't make tractors anymore.
This is what conversation does. And so you're saying that Ford doesn't make tractors anymore, but Ford has been bought out by New Holland. And so New Holland continue to manufacture the same tractors or the same line of tractors.
Oh, you mean New Holland bought Ford?
New Holland bought
tractor
Ford.
business. No, not bought Ford. The tractor business.
The tractor business.
Yeah,
That is correct.
yeah.
The tractor aspect of
Yeah,
Ford was bought out by New Holland, and so New Holland continued to carry the parts and the services for Ford. But those tractors, and not just the fact that it's a Ford or New Holland. In our context, we are more looking for basic tractors because we don't have the large acreage for computerized GPS tractors. And so to bring them here with the complication and you don't need them, and that's another problem in and of
Okay,
itself.
well, I just saw here that actually Ford bought New Holland, but then they discontinued the tractors, so they don't make tractors anymore.
Well,
so
New Holland is still
it's still
It's
okay.
still
So
making
maybe
and
so maybe
carrying
this,
Ford
okay.
parts.
From another angle, dealing with the tractor system, we could also discuss and say, why not incentivize the private sector and government could see themselves out of the tractor business?
Good point.
Rather than spending money all the time with tractors, incentivize people, and right then you create another sector in the agriculture because you got the private tractor now doing the land preparation. That could have been another angle looking at it.
And that has been one of the qualms that finance has had with the ministry as well, because as we were saying last week, the ministry continued to make a moral argument to finance. Every time a tractor is broken, we need another tractor, but for what and for who? And finance keep getting the impression that farmers does not want to grow and take responsibility. But then you go into finance and you're, like Francis is saying, if you take an argument to finance and you say, okay, we need 2 new tractors, but in the process, we are going to incentivize the local community to continue the service. Finance is more inclined to understand that you're coming out. And so the funding now is only part-time. But if you keep going back to finance for the same thing every 2 years, who has that type of money to just throw at you every time you come? And finance, again, go ahead.
Yeah, for the same things.
For the very same things.
Let me try. Just to expand on your suggestion just now. That's actually a pretty good idea. So you're saying, for example, let's say a heavy equipment operator could probably add that as a business.
Yeah.
And I guess now when you think about it, you realize you've never seen any of them with that type of equipment, probably because of the fact that government has always tended to provide those services. But to your point, you think that's actually something that would work?
Actually, I actually provide that service also. I'm a tractor owner. I provide that service. But I have to compete now with the government for business. The government price is less than mine. Right? So right there and then you see I'm at a disadvantage. You know? When I get breakdown and so I have to pay my duty and my parts and everything. Government doesn't have to do that. I don't get my diesel duty free and so on. So if you incentivize people to grow the sector. Yeah.
Good point.
And so that is why we are saying, that is why we wanted not to be nosy in the government business. And it seems as if, there is some apprehension of us becoming the voice because we're thinking that we don't want them to know or don't want them to be involved in something. We're saying, on the upper tier, there's some things you might be able to keep to yourself. But as it relates to us, as practitioners in a department, you cannot, should not continue to create policies and plans for us, outside of us. It is just not workable going forward. And it costing us more, as I said before. We have, as I continued, we have about 20 dams, water dams, that was built across the island for water catchment and storage. Millions of dollars that are destroyed, completely destroyed. We had an entire greenhouse sector, millions of dollars, and I am including in one of those greenhouse owners, completely destroyed. And I'm saying, as it pertains to the greenhouse, we spend millions of dollars erecting these houses.
When you say destroyed
Destroyed by
over years,
hurricane, by fire. And one of the main reasons for the lack of reconstruction has been the material to reconstruct these houses.
Okay, it's 9:35. Let's just take a quick break, and we come back with the second half of the Farm Report, and of course we'll be taking your calls as well. We have to hear from our sponsors for this day part, Rams.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Hey kids, drink healthy!
Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way. It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, chubby. 25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun. It's chubby. Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed. It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, chubby. 25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun. It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Fruta, fruta full of vitamin thing. Real fruit juice, not full of vitamin. Pop open the goodness, just dive in. Fruta every night, fruta every morning.
It's the amazing taste and quality in fruit juice you've come to know and love. Anytime, anywhere, any occasion. Fruta is your tastier, better, healthier choice.
We got the vibes, fruta. Real, real nice, fruta.
And for the families, remember to pick up the 1 liter.
And we're back on Farm Report. It's 9:36. Okay, guys.
So you're back?
Yes, we're back.
So I have a question. I remember hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the Ministry of Agriculture was going into some sort of program whereby they were going to be encouraging persons to go into greenhousing. And they were going to be providing, I guess, materials and whatever equipment and support that was needed. So has that taken off? Is it still in the works? Have you guys been able to touch base with them and get any info, benefits, supplies? Give us some background on that.
I believe that is part of the agenda for tomorrow's meeting. They have mentioned that early on in the process. We would have indicated our concerns. One of the things that really affected us most of the time, and you would have heard me say the first time I got here, is that there is a traditional approach of blaming failure of something. When it doesn't work, is the farmers. I think this lends itself back to the point that Esma was making about finding materials and so forth. Some of these same greenhouses will also have attached to them the same ponds, right? We would have said that there was some constraints on the persons or the farmers and so on who are undertaking this kind of exercise. And one of them was, as he indicated, was the ability to be able to find or procure the same material that you need to maintain your thing over time. Because these houses will have a lifespan, maybe like 10 years, 20 years, whatever the case is, 5 years, right? But during that period of time, you will get damage, right? I've seen farmers who had ponds and fire just run across them. I've seen persons who come to hurricane didn't get a chance to take them fast enough and everything blew off and so on. So, I mean, yes, the farmers have some responsibility as well, but there's a limit to which they can go. And I think Edmund was touching on that, and I would like to hear him finish that point he was making there.
Okay, I think you would have made the point though, but the fact that you're proposing a new, as the government is saying, a new greenhouse village without addressing the problems of the past,
Right, the old
tells
ones
you
would
that
have
we're just
suffered.
jumping over things, we're just moving over things, and we just coming to our own conclusion and saying, okay, let's just build a greenhouse village. Because if consultation was there, and I'm not saying that we don't need a greenhouse village, but the consultation should have said, or the conclusion from the consultation was that these are the problems that we're facing. Let us fix these problems while we move to having another such program. And so this is what we're saying. Again, we're not saying that we want to be nosy or we want to be, a part of the government organization just to be there. We're saying these are some of the things that can be fixed, and in the end would cost less than what we're currently witnessing. And so, having said that, those are 2 areas, 3 areas that we're able to identify, and there are many, 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 many others. And so I'll have Mr. Budi share with us some of the things that, is concerning to him.
Okay, well, the conversation, I think, should always start at the beginning. And I would also want to just start by saying that what we are doing here is not about confrontation, but it's about nudging and encouraging the 2 major parts of the sector, which is the farming community and the agriculture ministry, to forge that partnership to move forward. We as a consortium and the farming community, our ultimate goal is basically to build out the sector from the foundation up. Because once we don't have the foundation, that is the infrastructure, all the things that are necessary to grow, regardless of what we're going to inject into the sector, it's not going to be much food. It's going to be very temporary, and we're not going to get the yield from whatever you put in. And we go right back to that $13 million stimulus that they claim that was injected into agriculture. We can drive around St. Kitts today. Can we see anything that resembles an investment in agriculture?
And as you speak about that, the agriculture and the investment in agriculture, I am thinking about what we started the program with this morning at around 8 o'clock, and it was about the CBI, about Caribbean countries. Dominica now has to get a visa to travel to the United Kingdom. We have had discussion where it is that the CBI program appears to be under threat. And we have to, as a people, think about not relying on the CBI as much as we have been doing, because there might be a time, we don't know, that the program might not be there. And so areas such as agriculture, such as tourism and other sectors need to be enhanced in such a way that if there is a time when we don't have the program, or the program in the way in which it is now, that we can survive. And so agriculture is one of those ways in which we have to make sure that we are first self-sufficient and able to export and able to get revenue into our country. Because I am amazed that, even St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they don't have the CBI program, but they're able to manage their country and to, do relatively well. So we have to start to think about other sectors as agriculture.
But that must happen from the infrastructure, setting up that. I mean, our tourism industry was not as robust as it is today. But what happened? Millions of dollars was invested to build up the infrastructure, and then you allow the persons then to use their own initiative and, do what they need to do. And that is what we are saying. In the agriculture sector, let us build out the infrastructure, Bring us to the table. Let us forge that partnership. Let us have that voice. And once the infrastructure is there, you were talking about the storage, access to market, the water, finance, then it makes it so much easier for us to apply our trade and to do what we need
And
to do.
as you have said with tourism, you'll see about there being a tourism board. You see how there's so many people involved in the tourism industry. There's a Ministry of Tourism, there's the Tourism Authority. There's so many persons adding to ensure that the tourism product is enhanced. And as you have alluded, the same effort ought to be placed in agriculture because we need it.
And so, as I said, you don't just want to reiterate it all the time, because what we are saying here today, I mean, we cannot, once it is said, the interpretation in the radio land, we don't have any control over that. But what we want to make abundantly clear is that what we are desirous of is having that partnership and that voice so that we can work together, because we are not here for us. We're here to build out that so generations to come wouldn't be at the struggle that we are struggling today, but they would have a nice platform to come and grow.
One of my concerns is, I remember when Troy first came, we had a long conversation about the 25 by 25. But every week we meet, I see us further away from the 25 by 25 goal. And, it's not even to be malicious or anything. I'm just concerned because right now we're smack dab in the middle of hurricane season, and you can see from the weather that we've been having. So that is also something that is going to be a hindrance. But we are not able to move forward. We're not getting to the point whereby our concerns are being addressed or even listened to at this point. So where are we with the 25 by 25?
You see everybody looking at everybody?
And I'm looking straight at you.
And yes, because it's the same thing. We're looking at the ministry and ask, we have no idea.
No idea.
But
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Troy.
Tomorrow they'll be launching something.
Okay, you want to take some calls?
This is agriculture related.
Okay, there's a
25
question.
and 25.
There's a comment I
oh
got
my.
here
We
that
have
I'm
that
going to
here.
share, which I think is important because I know this is something that has been addressed in the weeks and months before. Someone says, okay, let me read the first part. Okay, it says, why? Where is it? It's just here. Okay, wouldn't it be fair to hear the Ministry of Agriculture's side? Okay, so y'all think about that. Let's take a call and then you can answer both questions, because I thought that was a good question, because I know that you guys always...
So I have actually invited the minister. I approached him
Which
just
is
after our second farm report.
Yes, which is
and
what I told
invited
him. Yeah, but I thought that Troy thought. Let's take a call. Farm report, you're on.
Hello, good morning.
Hi,
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm here listening on the program. Step by step, we have people to handle it. So while listening to you all, I was saying, right, you remember a long time they had woodwork, I had board houses, so you send the children them to learn how to down the college to do the woodwork, how to maybe set up a blind, how to frame up a window or so. Right? So I was saying, well, what happened? These people, we're paying so much money, lending them, we're not really paying, we're lending them so much money to go Cuba and elsewhere, Taiwan and them. But this is a computer world now. So what happened, they just go out, they eat off the government money. Some of them, they know I heard, some talk come up, they must see Monday, truly, they don't even want to come back to work here no more, because we were able to see, like, the money sound a little higher out there. So my observation, me saying, well, what happened? Nobody think this computer world, so it's a little gentleman there, who older than them. They were supposed to come back with an idea, along with his idea from the agriculture thing, and able to say, well, I loan this out here, I loan that out there. Nobody coming back with nothing. It sounds so every day this talk story. So that's what they say, not going out there to help. As they said that you're supposed to cattle, they used to say donkey, right? right? Got a filly to help them. But the donkey can't carry you, put it on. If you feel you big holding up. And he carry them, so I don't know. Because talking, don't make no help, you know. It's a burning shame. Every day talking about this agriculture thing and people coming on and complaining who have ground. They cannot get assistance from the government and wherever you want. But, you know, and they want the crop, something dropping back behind them. So I don't know what's going on. The people them say they in computer world. So I think since it's a computer thing now coming up, tractor, they're supposed to be able to assist and assist good enough when I go on.
Have a good
Thank you
day.
for your contribution.
Let me point out something before, kind of as a response to the comment that caller thing. He's talking about. I told him. I said, well, we have had people on from the ministry, but here's the distinction, and then this also I think puts the problem in stark relief. The people that have been on who are part of the ministry are also farmers. I mean, one of the guys is an extension officer, and the other one is
in the ministry.
In the ministry. So what does that tell you? You know. Go ahead, Troy.
But we're going to talk about the 25 by 25.
Well, actually,
yeah, of course.
Actually, I have invited the PS to this program on two occasions. I'm still waiting on him to give me a proper response. So.
And I saw the minister at a funeral the other day, and I told him, you know, just tell me the day, and we could make it available for us to have a discussion. So.
For the launch of the 25 by 25 agenda, tomorrow, we, the consortium, like everybody else, will be going there and listen to what's being said. And when needs be, we will ask our questions and give our input.
It seems that my friend isn't listening. He seems like he wasn't listening to what Candy just said, what you just said.
That's
okay. He goes, don't you have to invite them to say
Can
again
we
what
let
you just
Troy
said?
finish his sentence? I'm not going to address that. Can you continue?
Yes. We have a call, but finish your point.
Yeah, you could take the call. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
go ahead, caller. Farm
Good
report.
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to the members of the consortium and good morning to the panelists.
Morning.
That's right, tweet here. Look at how the Win Authority thinking in the middle of the hurricane season. They can outlet this thing here, 25 by 25. This thing was known from how long ago? Since last year. It's going to make a second meeting. The Minister of Agriculture is going to have with farmers. What the Minister of Agriculture has done, he has his own farm, and that is his major interest. While the other farmers ain't got access to the farm, for example, speaking about myself, since October of last year, the permanent secretary, the acting permanent secretary, was up here. He see what was going on with my farm, cattle walking down my farm and all kind of things. My land fence, you know, drip lines and all kind of things, thousands and thousands of dollars invested on my farm. And now this man in Shabak his face. But then I get to understand certain things. But these things going to be revealed tomorrow. A lot of nastiness going on. They're pushing their farm further and further and further ahead. Well, the farmers who was in there long before them, even before the Minister of Agriculture and the acting permanent secretary was born by farming. So what they're coming up with, I don't understand. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Why do you think we have so much poverty and saying kids? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for your contribution, Carla.
Yeah, we will be there. And encourage the farmers out there to come out and listen and be a part of it. But we will make it abundantly clear that the disrespect to the farming community must stop. This top-down approach won't work. It has been tried years and years, time in and time out, and it has failed. So now we realize that this administration are going down the same road. So we are saying to you, stop, please. We see this movie already. We see it play out. Please put a hold. Let's sit down. Let's discuss something. So when we unveil something, all the farmers will feel proud of it because they are a part of it.
Do you guys know what is going to be addressed tomorrow in the 25 by 25?
I have no idea.
No idea.
No idea.
No idea.
I want to jump in here. I kind of share a personal experience.
Yes.
It's non-farming, but I'm going to tie it back to agriculture.
Yes.
When I was a youngster coming out of CFBC, I think I was just starting work at customs. You know, coming from the countryside, you don't have much disposable income. You have to go to a government dentist. So I went to, when you have a toothache or any problems, I had to go to the dentist in Newtown. And I remember it was one of those wisdom tooth. And I went there, I got into the chair, the lady gave me 3 injections to start off with, and then afterward I proceeded to do what she has to do. And I remember tapping and telling her, I'm feeling pain, a lot of pain. Mm-hmm. She stopped, she gave me some more injections again, and she started again, and I stopped her again, look, I'm feeling pain. And I remember she got kind of, angsty with me, and she said, what you're feeling is vibration. It's not pain, it's vibration. But this is not my first experience in a dentist chair, right? So I allowed her, because she's a professional, so I allowed her to continue again, and I realized this looked like it can go to the point where it even break my jaw. And I had to tap her hard and say, look, I am done. And so I actually literally took her hand out of my mouth and walked out with a bloody mouth going out across the street. About a couple days later, I went to a private dentist and explained to them my situation. And I never even had to extract that tooth. I had a different measure done on my tooth, I still have it today, right? And she was insisting because she is the expert. She understands, but I have pain. The farming community has pain. And you're saying to them, the course of action to which you are taking, we have seen it before, right? We have seen it before, and we're asking you to please let us get engaged together on this matter. I want to share with you something. I was reading, this book I was reading recently called The Vision of the Anointed. Self-Congratulations as a Basis for Social Policy by Thomas Sowell, right? And I think it's so fitting. You see, the rise of the mass media, mass politics, and massive government means that beliefs which drive a relatively small group of articulate people have great leverage in determining the course taken by a whole society. But he went on further. He says some of the greatest catastrophes in history occurred when the method by which feedback from reality has been prevented so that a dangerous course of action could be blindly continued to a fatal conclusion. Many a times, the vision of the few is being persisted because they are the intellectual and the political elite. They are not in touch. In the consortium meeting, leadership meeting on Monday, he said, please ask that we come from bottom up as well. Let us be able to put our reality, our experiences on the table in carving out a policy, a plan, a program for agriculture going forward. Because what has happened so far has not worked, and it has left tremendous pain in the farming community and for agro-processors the same.
You guys want to squeeze in a call?
Yeah.
Farm Report, you're on the air. Please be brief. We have 4 minutes left.
Yeah, I'm very brief because it's beyond talking, you know. We want to wish the Virgin them all the best and just stay firm. Just stay firm. Victory is certain, you know. Just time.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
You know, I just gotta say, I never thought I'd be on a Farm Report and hear Thomas Sowell quoted. And so that speaks to the level of dysfunction we have in our agricultural system.
And then, as I think on what the farmers have to say here today, I'm wondering, the Ministry of Agriculture, what is its main purpose? Is it not to ensure that the ministry or the agriculture sector in St. Kitts and Nevis is booming, doing well? And is it not, therefore, important to ensure that, the farmers feel some level of comfort? Because when you hear about the farmers in Nevis, and when you hear them speak, it's not with the same dissatisfaction that you hear about farmers here in St. Kitts. In fact, in Nevis, it seems like there's a whole communication going on, better relationship, and we're wondering, why can't it be the same in St. Kitts? And how could it be so difficult to speak with farmers and engage with farmers, because at the end of the day, you're here trying to make the best out of the resources that we have.
I want to make one comment. Have you ever gone into the supermarket before they restock the greenery section? So have you seen what it looks like?
Yes.
So I went into the supermarket yesterday, and it was not the day when they put out stuff. Not yesterday, the day before. That would have been Monday.
Tuesday.
And so,
Tuesday.
yes, there wasn't anything there. And I want us to keep that in mind and think about what the farmers are saying, what they're pushing, and what they're experiencing. What happens if every time we go to the supermarket, that's the scenario we're faced with?
And
no eggs, no tomatoes, no pak choy, no broccoli, no carrots, no cucumbers, nothing of that sort. Because food security has and will always be important. And we've been hearing the farmers come on for weeks now and complaining about different aspects: pressure, import duties, no tractor, no support, no seeds, no fertilizer. I think our very first show was about fertilizer and weed killer and all of that. Guys, it is something that is to be taken seriously. If we're going to be aiming for a 25 by 25 agenda, we must pay attention and address the issues that the farmers are facing.
Now, to your 2 points, and the funny thing is, Azard made a point which I thought was great, which I wanted to use in my comment now, and she did as well. So the thing is, Nevis. So I'm assuming tomorrow, is that going to be one of the things you guys are going to pose? You know, we're talking about the fact that in Nevis they have the system where the importers can't bring in certain things because, hey, we can provide them locally. So I'm hoping tomorrow will be. That's one of the things you guys are gonna table.
I believe the launch is a joint thing. Two ministries, the national effort.
Good.
I guess
Good.
The
Even
PS
better.
and the ministers are working together. I think
Even
even
better.
the same document that they put out, the infographic that they use, indicates that it's a joint thing by some means.
Okay.
It's a national effort in
And you know, that's a very good point Candy just raised, because I was in what was it, Monday actually or Tuesday, and that always strikes me. You're in there and it's like,
No options.
yeah, everything is gone.
I want, Azard was saying something, and I want to even flip it and ask him the question. You don't have to have an answer, but what do you think is the main reason why it is so difficult for the farming community to request a voice and not be taken seriously about it, to be at the table sitting down?
I think it's just a matter of egos, and perhaps persons believing that they don't need to have a conversation with the farmers, because maybe it is that they feel that their few voices are able to tell you and dictate what you guys need.
Do you believe it is possible for one party to solve the agricultural issues?
No, I don't. And let me say this, for persons out there who might be thinking, okay, the farm report is about bashing, I have spoken to the minister just recently, and I have indicated to him that if he wishes to come on and give his point of view, just tell me the time and I'll make myself and we can make the program available. He has my number, so if he wishes to do so, the opportunity is still there.
Well.
So
I have another question. If you have identified 5 crops for food security, don't you still think that the farmers should really have a say?
Yes.
A voice. Don't you think they still need
Definitely.
financing? Don't you think they need financing for the production?
I think it's an easy fix. When I say easy fix, of course it's a complex situation, but in terms of communication, it just means sitting down with the farmers and the community and say, what are you guys looking for? How can we assist?
But hold on. So for those of you who might be viewing, I just got this from Mishak. It is the St. Kitts Consortium of Farmers and Food Producers. And it is a brochure, and it is so well put together. There's a website, there's contact numbers, there's an email address, there's an address, and it tells you what it's about, who we are, consortium strategic functions. How is the consortium organized? Vision, mission, areas of focus. So, for those of you who are wondering if it's just a fly-by-night thing, they are well organized, and this is something that we have been speaking about since the very first farm report, and it is growing. I remember you said this morning there are 120 persons on board now. So it is growing. They're well organized. They already have their vision, their mission, and some of their strategic functions listed here. So if you're actually that interested in improving the situation and you wanted to know what this consortium is all about, there's no questions.
Yeah.
There are no questions here. It's all, laid out here. And I heard you guys have been having meetings. So it's not a matter of not stating what it is you want. I think it's just a matter of coming together and getting the work done.
Okay, so 4 minutes after 10 o'clock.
I think he had one.
Make your final
okay.
point.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I think you were saying that it is a complicated situation, but it is so because we have so many different front lines. If there is an investment in the infrastructure, so you have storage, you have water, you have access to all the inputs, quality inputs, market, and all the other things, then it becomes quite easy.
And the thing about it, I have seen the comments made here on the social media, and persons are commending the delivery of the panel. They're commending the way in which you guys have put forward these suggestions and ideas. And I'm saying, the same way that you have so easily put forward these ideas so eloquently, it should be in the same way that the Ministry of Agriculture could, to me, you guys basically could do the work for them.
Take corrective measures.
I mean...
But traditionally, that's not how it's been done.
And so that it is something different. It is something different, and so you're going to take some time to get there. But what we're saying is that let us do it. Let's forge forward.
Because if you even look at the pamphlet as it's well crafted, well put together, I mean, if the Ministry of Agriculture could, engage you guys so much more to make it a much smoother process.
But the lady who called in spoke about what we refer to as the middle managers in the government. And those are the ones who are to ensure, after going up, because in my day, when you went off to study, the aim was to return to help those ailing industries. And when they return, persons with cattle, persons with livestock, should begin to benefit from those persons who return. No, the system is built in such a way that when people return, it's all about money and position instead of coming back to help. And so these are the situations that we end up in. But traditionally, though, agriculture has never took farmers seriously. And as well put together as this is, I think the government, not government as in, they have seen so many organizations form and fail. And so it's just a matter of probably waiting us out to see if we are going to fail.
So it's kind of like Putin now with the Ukraine war. He's
well,
waiting for NATO to...
I hope it's not that pessimistic of an outlook. No. I hope it's not that pessimistic of an outlook.
I'm just joking.
Okay.
Some comic relief is in order. Come on.
I like the fact that you guys have this brochure. I've actually gotten requests to send the information to persons who are interested in joining. So you guys should be getting more members. But I really do hope that the powers that be, change the outlook, change the approach, and that you guys can mend the rift that's occurring right now, so that you guys can move forward.
Just to say that I have instructed the web guy to make some edits on the page going forward to reflect a lot of this information a bit better. As I've always indicated, we are going as we are going. I also wanted to ask a question. It might be my last thing saying, because I think we're out of time predominantly, is whether we are still going to pursue the road of state-run agriculture. Because nowhere has that been shown to be successful without having the private farmers elevated and doing what they could. Because nobody's going to be as innovative as a private person looking after his own livelihood.
But with a subsidy and incentivization architecture.
If you can give hundreds of millions to the beloved,
I will just like to invite everybody out tomorrow lunch, the media. I'm asking you to come out and listen.
Tell us where it is.
Agriculture large conference room, the agriculture department. It's a historic moment, and it will be historic. So I don't want the media to miss out on it. Please come out and show your support.
Support the Ministry of Agriculture.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks, WINNFM.
Wonderful discussion. Yes, food for thought.
I'm throwing everyone out now.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Island Tea this morning, and see you back here tomorrow. Have a good one today.
Yes.
So we have Spin Cycle coming up next, brought to you by CPL. Stay tuned for some great music.